Hello and welcome everyone. It is Wednesday, June 5th, 2019. New comic book day, best day of the week. That means it's time for another new comic haul video and some comic talk and stuff coming down the road and everything else. Man, it was another good week this week. I mean, how can it be a bad week? It's Christmas every week. Thank you so much to all my subscribers on YouTube and my followers on Instagram. You're all awesome. I know a lot of you, follow me on both kind of things. So, but I just really appreciate all the comments and tips and info and everything. It's just being part of this community is great. I mean, we're all sharing info, and it's fantastic. So, thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate it. And my comic shop shout out today is to Geekadrome. They're in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The owner's name is Paul Drabick. I hope I pronounced the last name right. He just had his 10-year anniversary recently, so congrats to you, Paul. That is awesome. Love to hear that. Comic shop's doing well. The address and phone number is down in the comments. If you're in the area, stop by, say hello, set up a pull list. I'm sure Paul will be more than happy to help you out. And it's a cool looking store. It looks like he's got a ton of good stuff there and everything else. He comes highly recommended. I've never been there, but hey, Geekadrome sounds like a good store, so head on over there if you're in the area. So awesome. You were my shout out today, Paul. Congrats on that 10-year anniversary, by the way. And so in the background here, I just want to talk quickly about my New Ages Atlas #1. These just showed up today. I pre-ordered these when they first became available, and they just showed up today. I got them from Sanctum Sanctorum. I always have a tough time saying that. Never ordered from them before, but I have to say their packaging was just stunningly good. I've never got, I order, a fair amount of books, as you all know. And it was really nice to see. I mean, there's a lot of really good companies out there, don't get me wrong, but it was really nice. They bagged and boarded the books, obviously, which most people do. But they also put them in top loaders. Each book was in its own top loader, and then that was sealed inside a paper bag, and then that was inside a Gemini mailer. So, man, I can't ask for any more. They showed up in pristine condition. I'm really happy with the service they gave. Their prices are pretty fair, and as you all know, those books have really heated up, but I was glad to get those in my collection. I'm sure happy I ordered those when they first came out. It's the thing with these limited variants. I don't recommend a lot of them. But the ones I do are usually pretty good ones. So, and I'll talk about something coming up down the road anyways. And in the middle there, I got Action Comics 1001. That is your first, I've mentioned it before and I've showed it a couple times, your first full appearance of the Red Cloud. That's a book. I found 2 copies today in the back issue bin just for cover price at my shop. I grabbed them. If you don't have that book, I highly suggest you get a copy of it, because Red Cloud, who is Robinson Goode, who showed up in DC Nation Zero. I've talked about this briefly before, but she's tied in with Leon and that Event Leviathan and Naomi and the whole bit, and I really think she is going to be a big player going forward. And that is a book that if you don't have it, I would try and get it. Just like I say, that you should be able to find those for cover price in the back issue bins. There was 3 covers, but this is cover A, and that's the one I've got a few of. So anyways, just want to mention that before I get going in my books. So get going in my independents. I grabbed a couple of copies of Blood Realm #2. I enjoy that. I know some people don't like the artwork or whatever, but I like the Robert Geronimo. I like his artwork. I like the story. It's a dark fantasy kind of thing, and I like it. It's an original kind of story, so I support him, and I like it. It's good, and it's $1.50. You can't go wrong with it. So I grabbed from Image. I got Thumbs #1. My shop was sold out of that. I only got the 1 copy. Luckily, I had them pull it for me. I should have got 2. But anyways, it's a thick book. I haven't read that one yet. I flipped through it, but that's one I'm going to be reading a bit later. And the big one this week from Image was Walking Dead 192. I mentioned this one a while ago, that Kirkman said it was a big issue, and he capitalized big. And yeah, it's a big issue, so I hope you got that one. It's there's a regular cover, obviously this one, and there's a blank cover. I did not get the blank cover. I just got the regular cover. And I'm not going to tell you what happens, but it is a big issue, so you want to get that one. It won't. I'm sure a lot of you know what happened in it already, but anyways, I don't want to. I do tend to spoil stuff sometimes. I'm not going to spoil that one. But and while we're on the topic of Walking Dead, 177, by the way, is the it's the first appearance of Sebastian Milton. There's the two covers, your cover A on the left here, and then you got your Governor variant cover on the right. Those came out, geez, I want to say about this time last year, if I remember right. It was last year anyways. And it's his first full appearance in this book, and he has a big part to play in 191 and 92. So that is one, if you don't have it, you should be able to pick it up for cover price, but it's a really good one to get as part of your... Because what happened in here, I could totally see that ending up in the show, and these characters have, you know, having roles in the show, obviously, so good one to get. That is it for my independents. We'll get into some DC here. I grabbed another. I mentioned last week that I grabbed, and I called my shop after I got home. I read Batman Last Night on Earth. I really liked it. I had one copy of each cover, but he had one more copy of this one left, and I grabbed another one. Picked it up this week. I know a lot of shops still have some of it on the shelf, but I really liked it, so I grabbed another one. And I grabbed this one, came out a little while ago. It's Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. I got both covers. My shop still had 2 copies of each sitting on the shelf, so I just grabbed one copy of A and B. That's a Eastman cover there on the right, which I like. And the reason I grabbed those, because that is the first appearance of the Laughing Man, who pretty much looks like the Joker, but I think it's a new character called the Laughing Man. And then issue number 2 was out today, so I grabbed that. I just grabbed one of those. I haven't been buying all the Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles all the way through. This is the first... I bought some way back in the 80s. I bought a bunch of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle books. I'll have to pull a bunch of those out and show you, but anyways, grabbed those today. I'm back on the I'm back on the Batman bandwagon. You know, the artwork in here was not very good, I'll have to be honest, inside the book, but the story was actually not terrible. So, and with Tom King ending, it sounds like he's ending at 85. You know, obviously he's going to try and wrap up his little run there. And I'm really waiting to see what happens with that Dark Bruce that showed up in 38. That character really appeals to me. So, anyways, I'm gonna go with. I'm back on the Batman bandwagon. Hopefully, Tom King's writing will be a little better now for the next little bit, but we'll see. Deceased 2 was out today, and this was a good one to get. You got regular cover A, you got cover B, and then I really like the Putri Nightmare on Elm Street homage. That's a really nice one. I like that one. Out of the 3, that's the one I like the best. But I have to show you what happens in here. Now, so this is a bit of a spoiler, so heads up. You do get... I know this is an alternate reality kind of a storyline, but I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. DC, Marvel, all the comics, especially with their movies and stuff, like the multiverses and everything's kind of seeping into mainstream. So I think everybody's aware of, you know, multiverses and everything else. So now having characters show up that are in one alternate reality and another one is not as mind-bendingly appealing. What's going on? I mean, it's not that big a deal anymore. So I know a lot of this stuff is alternate realities, but it can definitely pan out down the road. So anyways, in here you got Black Canaries. They're out camping, and then Green Lantern gets on his phone and gets infected and everything. He dies, and the ring ends up empowering her, and she becomes now a new Green Lantern. So there's your first appearance of the Black Canary as a Green Lantern. So like I say, I know it's kind of an alternate reality, but hey, you know, to me that's kind of a big deal. As a comic collector, I mean, you know me, and some of this stuff doesn't pan out for years. That's the funny with collecting. I've said it a few times, you really have to have patience if you want to be a comic collector, because books are not going to always jump up to $30 every day you buy them. I mean, sometimes it takes years and years and decades and whatever. So, and then my last one from DC, I got Justice League 25. This was another really good one. You get so kind of conclusion of the whole 6th dimension and everything. I'm going to show an image on the last page, well, last couple pages. Well, I'm not going to show the last page, but you do get Lex Luthor. He blew himself up in the Year of the Villains at 25-cent copy. I mentioned this a couple times. And then you saw him at the end. Perpetua had him kind of in the stasis chamber. Now, of course, he comes out. And, well, I am going to show an image on the last page, so if you don't want to know, turn it off. But anyways, he's obviously back. And the solicitations list him as Apex Lex Luthor coming forward. So this is kind of, looks to be your first full appearance of him, because he's there, and he's on these other pages and everything, talking and stuff. So to me, that's a full appearance, and he is going to be a big character going forward in this whole year of the villains thing, and he's definitely gained some new powers and stuff. Whether they stay with them, if they defeat Perpetua, which I'm guessing they will at some point, he may revert back to his original self, but who knows, maybe he'll stay as Apex Lex Luthor. But that looks really cool. I'm looking forward to that whole storyline. So we'll get going into some Marvel stuff. I grabbed a copy of this is a store. I think it was Scorpion Comics had this. My shop had it in, and it's limited to 3,000. The reason I grabbed that one, I showed the Avengers 1 for 10 with the PS4 Spider-Man on the cover. And I thought that was the first cover appearance, because that's what I'd read. But actually, this one came out a week prior to that Avengers 7. So this technically is your first cover appearance of the PS4 Spider-Man, who I truly believe will be in the next animated movie. So that is a good one to get if you can get it. Black Cat was out today, and I only grabbed the Art Germ cover. I'm not interested in this series at all. But I did grab the Art Germ cover just because it's a smoking hot cover and it looks really nice, so I grabbed that one. And I grabbed Journey into Mystery number 4. I've enjoyed that one all the way through so far. Not a whole lot happened in this one, but it was not bad. I grabbed Tony Stark Iron Man number 12. I love that cover. That's a gorgeous cover. And I haven't read that one, but I hear he may develop a new weapon or something in there. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I haven't read it, so... Got my Guardians of the Galaxy Annual number 1. It was not too bad, but it just kind of sets things up down the road. Got my Hot Shots number 4, and I have to give a shout out to my man Wolf Warner, and I'm going to show an image in here. He pointed out I wasn't going to buy this one. I bought a couple of Hot Shots anyways, but it looks like there's a new character in here. At least I think it is. This guy here called, just got to find it. Called. June the Executioner. Looks kind of interesting. I think that is. I haven't done a ton of research on that, but I haven't found anything on him. So, anyways, looks like a new character showing up. I don't know where any of these. There's so many characters popping up every week. Some are hit and miss. Some stick around. Some don't. But hey, man, I like taking the chance. If I can get it for cover price, I'll take a chance on it. Got the Incredible Hulk last call, and this was actually really good because it kind of sums up the Immortal Hulk run in a bit, because it talks about Harpy and Banner and everything else, and how he was shot in the head, and it's kind of funny how he's got somebody. Anyways, I won't spoil it, but it was actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. War of the Realms number 5, just got the one cover, and it's interesting that on the last page you see. It's definitely leading up to the next issue, the last issue, number 6. So that it looks pretty good. We'll see what happens with it, but it looks awesome. I got New Agents of Atlas number 3. I got a couple copies of that one. It's okay. There wasn't any new characters showing up or anything in this one, but I don't mind Greg Pak's writing. I just it's not bad. Let's put it that way. I'm going to keep going with it. Deadpool 13, I got the cover A and I got the gorgeous cover B. I love that. Kind of an homage to, I'm pretty sure it's an Alex Ross cover for Marvels that's an homage to. It was really good. I actually like, Deadpool's one of my favorite comics. Scotty Young's doing a really good job with this. Oh, and I got to show in here because it looks like there's some new characters that show up. A lot of new characters have been showing up in this Deadpool. And Good Night is one of my favorite. I really like Good Night. Good Night and the Laughing Assassin, man, I really hope that guy comes back. He was so cool. But in here, it looks like you get these 3 new characters that show up, called Nancy Nuke, who we got here? Captain Outback, and the Tasmanian Devil, or just Tasmanian, because you're not allowed to call him Tasmanian Devil, but it's kind of funny. Anyways, they show up in there. And like I say, I've really been enjoying Deadpool. It's been pretty, surprisingly, I haven't bought a lot of Deadpool stuff, but the way he's writing it is pretty entertaining. I like it. And then the last one I got was Savage Avengers number 2. I got 2 covers for that one. And it's pretty interesting that it looks like there's another symbiote that shows up in here. And I've showed an image of Conan with that sword getting all coated in the symbiote and everything. I'm pretty sure that that symbiote in here that shows up in that jar is going to end up coating his sword and giving him some new powers and stuff. And that makes sense. If they're going to bring him into the main MCU with all the other characters and superheroes and everything, he's got to have more powers than just a sword and a loincloth. So that would make sense if they're going to do that. And I hear the time travel stuff's coming in that too, so we'll see what happens with it. Anyways, that's it for my books this week. Some really good stuff. I got to talk, well, I talked about Action Comics 1001. Man, try to get a copy of that if you can. And then I got to talk about Doomsday Clock number 10. I didn't get a chance to read this when it came out. And this was a key issue, and this, to me, this has a lot of ramifications about what's going forward, because in here, it's basically all about Dr. Manhattan, and he's jumping around in time and stuff, and he's talking about the multiverses and timelines and all this other stuff. And it's interesting that in here you get, there's a few things that show up. So you get the car, the green car, that is now in Leon's possession in her museum or house or wherever she is. He also talks about the multiverses and how they link to Superman, and how, I gotta read this here because it says the multiverse reacts to this universe, meaning the current Earth universe, current timeline. There are being endless parallel worlds, none 52. Hey, that's surprising. Dark multiverses, all created by changes to this universe. This universe stands apart from the multiverse. It is the metaverse, and it is in a constant state of change. So that's kind of interesting, because then on the next page they start showing about all Superman on different timelines, or how he comes to Earth in a different timeline, and he meets his parents and whatever, and they die and the whole bit. But to me, it's setting up Dr. Manhattan. I'm really thinking that Dr. Manhattan is going to have a link to Naomi and the car and Leon, and with the different timelines and the multiverses and everything. And like I was saying earlier, the multiverse seems to be the way that is obviously the way that all these companies, Marvel and DC, are going to be able to pull characters in from their different alternate realities into the main stories and everything else, just like they're bringing Watchmen into Doomsday Clock, or into the DCU. And I could say I think they're going to bring Ty Naomi into the DCU she was in a different multiverse. So yeah, just that's a key book. If you haven't read that one, definitely recommend you read that one. It was really good. A couple other things I want to talk about. I showed this on my Instagram. It's Immortal Hulk number 19. It's Comics Elite. I've never ordered from them before, but man, was this was an oh boy cover. It's on the screen right now. It's a Deodato cover. It's exclusive to Comics Elite. There's only 500 versions available of this cover. There is a trade, a 3000, like just a regular colored one, but the Virgin is a gorgeous red background with a black and white Hulk, and oh man, does that look nice. It's sold out now, unfortunately. I mentioned when I posted that, man, if you want it, you better get on it fast, and yeah, it's sold out pretty quick. And then the other one I want to show, I showed this one too, but it's Amazing Spider-Man number 24. It's again from Comics Elite. It's a Ryan Brown exclusive to Comics Elite. There's 3,000 trade and then 500 of the Virgin, and holy crap, that is a gorgeous cover. It is obviously that creepy dude that showed up in issue number 1, and it sounds like in issue 24 and 25 we're going to find out some secrets about him and how he's tied up with Spider-Man and all that kind of stuff. I don't know that 24 is going to reveal who he is, but it sounds like 25 is the big issue where a lot of stuff is going to come to fruition. So it's interesting that this exclusive cover for number 24 is going to connect to another one that he's doing for issue 25 for Comics Elite. So there will be two connecting covers. So it'll be interesting to see how they're going to connect the next cover. I don't know if it's going to be somehow who he really is. Maybe they'll have the bandages off or something on the other one. But anyways, I just thought I'd point that out. If you're interested, there is a trade, 3,000 trade, and then 500 versions of that one. And man, I'd already ordered two, so I just had to talk about. I had to let you know about that one. So, anyways, that one other thing. Oh, this is one last thing I want to end on. I don't normally do this, but there's I have to give a shout out to a guy named Mylar Sleeve on Instagram, and he posted about just be careful when you're buying off people on Instagram and eBay. Apparently, there's some people out there are selling Immortal Hulk #1 that has no barcode on the front. If you see that, that means it likely is somebody bought the blank variants or a store exclusive variant and tore the outer cover off, because a lot of times they double cover them. There will be the original cover on the inside and then the whatever exclusive or blank cover on the outside. So it looks like what's happened is people have been tearing off the outer cover and selling that as Immortal Hulk #1. Although it is Immortal Hulk #1, because it has no barcode and it's technically not something that is supposed to be sold that way, CGC will label that as mutilated. So it is not. I wouldn't recommend buying those. It's not the original cover A that you think you're buying. So if there's no barcode, I guess at the end of the day, don't buy it, because it is not what people are telling you it is. Just wanted to give you a heads up on that, because then big shout out to Myler C for posting about that. So that is it this week, folks. Some really good stuff out this week again, and next week's going to be another good week. There's some really good stuff coming next week. So anyways, take care, everyone. Happy hunting this week. I'll talk to you later in the week. Bye for now.